Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Brienne and this is Bree's Knits. I have just a little bit of a tea set up for us today. I've always wanted to have a tea party with friends, but I live a bit of a ways from my friends, so it's kind of hard to do. So I also wanted to do a knit and chat, catch up, so I thought, what would be better than a cup of tea and some knitting? I bought some of these, not specifically for this video, don't worry, I had it before. I guess we'll just jump right into it. I was just gonna say a little tale about how I got all of this. I mean, maybe it's not unusual where you're from, but I guess here in the US, all of this is kind of like grandma stuff. One of my friends was having a, I guess, bridal shower, or I don't know if you would call it, yeah, bridal shower, about an hour or so away from me in San Diego. And there is a tea shop there that does themed, like afternoon teas at like 5 p.m. But, so they have like movie themes. So at that point it was Harry Potter. They have Lord of the Rings. They have Mary Poppins. They'll have Charles Dickens around Christmas. Usually the whole menu is set up around that specific theme. So it's very, very cute. And I had been there, I believe, no, I hadn't been there once before. I went again another time. Or maybe I just wanted to go back. But I have wanted to go to a few like afternoon teas over here. I went abroad once for school in England. Did an afternoon tea there at it's the Museum of Modern Art? No. It was the art museum. It's like right by Trafalgar Square, I believe. Now I don't know why, now I can't remember what museum it was, but we went there for our afternoon tea because some of the places we wanted to go to initially were just a little too outside of student budgets that were abroad, and also pounds is worth more than US dollars, so it was a little, some of the stuff was a little out of our range, but it was still a very lovely tea. I really enjoyed myself. So ever since then, wanted to do afternoon teas, test them out here in the US, see if it feels the same. Definitely the shop in San Diego does. I believe the owner is from the UK herself. So I had bought the teapot actually at that same shop. Even though it was my friend's bridal shower, my birthday was actually the next day, so I bought it as a bit of a gift for myself. And then I had seen how they were keeping the tea kettle warm, so I looked up what I could on Amazon. I don't know why that truck was doing that. I looked up what I could on Amazon and found this cast iron to put a tea light under, so I thought it was perfect, got that, and then I had asked for a little teacup set saucer and the milk and the sugar for Christmas, and I think I had gotten it 2 years ago. So I think maybe if I ever do a knit and chat now, I will just go ahead and do this too, because I don't know, I feel like because I just want to always do it, what better occasion than to do it with friends and to do it while knitting. Today I have a lavender chai tea. It is from a local farm. They do have lavender fields. You can go visit it. Well, I guess not really local, it's a bit of a drive, but it's in California. It's called 123 Farm. I think you can buy stuff online too, but they have their own lavender fields. They also grow rosemary and mint, I believe, and they make their own like essential oils or whatever. But I really enjoy the tea. I'm a big chai fan, love chai. I can make some myself now because of the Cross Culture Christian on TikTok. So I really, really enjoy that. I think I like making it more because it just feels like a nice warm hug in a cup. But the tea is a good second. Anyway, I have talked enough about tea. So let's just get into what we actually came here for, and it's for knitting and chatting. But first, I'm going to have a sip of tea, and I also hope that you have something with you to sip on or snack on. Cheers! So for today's video, I'm actually wearing the Cypress top by Renewal Collective. I finished it quite a bit ago. Here it is. I have modified sleeves. I did German short row sleeves. And yeah, that's it really. I came back from Mexico recently. I went on vacation or holiday. Honestly, I love saying that you went on holiday rather than vacation. I don't know, just something about it just sounds nicer to me. But we went on holiday to Mexico, more specifically Quintana Roo, or some people may know it as Cancun, but we weren't really in Cancun. It was like maybe 30 to 40 minutes away from Cancun. We had spent a week there. It was very nice. I got a bit of a tan. My bunny got a bit of a tan too. The only thing I did not, like I don't miss right now is how hot and humid it was. I liked the humidity in the sense that I feel like I could breathe a little easier. It doesn't feel like I always have something dry in my throat. But it was also like you're constantly sweating. It's just not a fun time. But yeah, and I had taken mostly my Made You Look tops to Cancun with me. I had 3 at the time. I don't think I'll make another one this year. I had thought about making one with some hand-dyed yarn that I had purchased, but then as these things happen after a while, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want this hand-dyed yarn to be this anymore. So now I've been looking for patterns for worsted weight yarn for, I have 2 skeins. I believe they're 218 yards, so I've been looking to see what I can do with them. Probably some beanies for maybe for some family members for Christmas or something, but I love the colors, so maybe I'll try to find something I can do for myself. I think realistically I was looking at a beret, but I'm not sure if those colors are really what I would wear as a beret, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know what else I could really say. I didn't do a lot of knitting while I was on holiday. I was actually a little bit more busy than I thought I was. I had actually brought 2 whips with me, and I brought a skein of yarn for a baby knit just in case I had extra time. I thought I'd be able to get one of those projects done and then the other one just to continue working on. And then I had thought that maybe I'd get to start the other one. But realistically, I guess if you take out travel days, we were really only there for 5 days. So I guess, yeah, we're kind of trying to like cram everything in. So this is a knit and chat. So let me go ahead and start knitting. I will tell you what I'm working on in just a second. So I'm happy to be back. I had a lot of podcasts to catch up on. And I tried, like, we had data, but it was kind of very much lacking. It was like very like the bare minimum, so I couldn't really watch a lot of videos. I had downloaded episodes of podcasts on my Spotify before I left, just in case. I'm really glad I did that. To be fair, it was mostly H3 podcasts, and they were the old podcasts that I had already listened to or watched. So I also had like all of the H3 podcasts to catch up on. But yeah, so that was that. Like I said, I didn't really do a lot of knitting, so when I came back, it kind of felt weird to start again. I tried. I had the Ripple halter with me, and I even had my iPad with the patterns on them. But I felt like every time I'd start working on it, we were just moving again, and I didn't really have time to just sit and do something. I had worked on most of this on the plane, and with the Ripple halter by Jessie May, it was just, I think I had made a mistake, and with rib, it's easy to make mistakes, so I was like, ugh, I'd rather just not I don't want to be distracted while making it, so I just tried working on this for the most part, so that way it's just mostly stockinette, so it would be easy to fix, and I don't have to put a lot of thought into it. I can just, like I'm doing right now, I can just stock and knit in stockinette, so that's great. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of where else I was going. Okay, so what I'm working on. Actually, I will hold off on that. I asked a while ago on my Instagram if anybody had any questions for a potential knit chat. I only got a few, but thank goodness I can talk a lot. So I'm going to read a couple of those off of my phone, and then I will chat some more about what I'm working on at the end. Okay, so one of the questions that I received was from Alexandra. She said, either or, mohair with another strand of fiber or by itself. So I'm going to say, because of how difficult it is to unravel mohair on its own, I'd rather work with another strand of fiber. I also think it just feels nicer with another strand of fiber. I do have a couple of projects with just the lace on its own. I think if it was lace weight yarn, I could work with Surrey alpaca lace on its own. I really love the way alpaca feels. I think I'm prone to think that it's softer than mohair, and I think it's so nice. But it is really hot. Like, you can get really warm really fast. So mohair, I think, is a little bit better for that, where you're not like overheating in it, and it's just like comfortable and cozy. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Surrey alpaca. So if it was alpaca on its own, but specifically mohair, yeah, I need to work with another strand. Otherwise, it's very difficult to unravel if you make a mistake. And I have broken pieces of mohair trying to unravel it, and it's just sad every time when it's single. Also because it was my first time ever working with Knitting for Olive mohair single, so it was so sad that it was ripping on me because of how hard I was trying to undo a knot or anything at all. So that was, yeah, bad experience. So definitely held double with another fiber. The next few are from Francesca, from Italian Knitter, and Italian Knitter. Why can't I speak today? Anyway, so one of the questions she had was, worst project you've ever knitted? You could have hated the results or the pattern. So this one, I did, when I first saw this question, I was like, I don't hate any pattern that I made, but I did have to think about it a little bit. And there is one pattern, and it was the Ginevra Tee by Fablo Knitwear. And I hate saying that because I love her patterns, and I think the pattern itself is beautiful. I really wish that it would have worked out and I could have made it still and I could wear it. There are other people who I think are from Norway that were able to make it just fine because they had access to the yarn. But it was just kind of inaccessible. I tried knitting 2 sizes up from what I would usually knit. It probably also would have helped to make a gauge swatch realistically. However, I do think I did delete it off of my Ravelry, so I don't know if I'll be able to get it again, but I was making it for a vacation to Hawaii a year ago, 2 years ago. Hawaii, yes, okay. I was trying to make it in time for that, and I actually did finish it beforehand. And all I would have needed to do was the ribbing all around, like for the collar and the button band. And I tried it on, and it was way too tight. It felt like an extra small. So it was just not, but I did have like, there were a lot of reviews on Ravelry that did say if you didn't have that specific yarn, it seemed like you had to knit either like all the way up, like the highest size she had, or it just wasn't going to work out for you, or you had to do a bigger gauge, which kind of defeats the purpose because the way you buy the pattern because you like the way it looks. So that I did not have fun. I think I did unravel it, and I was just going to use the yarn for like napkins or something for gifts for Christmas. But it was just sad. It was very sad to work on that for so long, and I hate working back and forth. So investing that time into it and it not working out, and then I went back to take a look at the pattern page and saw that she removed it from circulation because of the inaccessibility to the yarn and because the pattern itself was just, I guess because the yarn is inaccessible and nobody's able to actually get the desired look that's not near Norway or who doesn't want to make that investment of ordering from Pickles just for that yarn that she used. But I do think about it quite often because I wish it had worked out, but it did not, alas. Next question is, dream pattern you would like to knit but don't have the time / will right now. So my dream pattern is the Billy Pullover by Sari Nordlund. I want to make at least one of them this year. My husband and I saw it, and I showed him it. I had seen it. Okay, sorry, it makes me really excited. I just keep talking like a mile a minute. I had seen it in circulation, but I guess I didn't realize that I wanted to make it until I saw it on Rebecca's podcast, or some of you might know her as the Crea Beta podcast. I didn't realize I wanted to make it until I saw hers when she made it in Cascades 220 colorway The Shire. Yes, I know it completely down to a T because of how much I was in awe of the color and the way the pattern looked with that color. I absolutely loved it. So I had showed my husband it, and I said, look at this. I showed the finished object picture that she had posted on Instagram, and he said he really liked it and he really wanted one. So I hope to do at the very least one Billy Pullover this year, but I don't know realistically if I'll have time to or if I will be able to do, like, finish it before 2022 is over. I think I had told my husband, like, you're going to have to wait till after Christmas, but I had only planned realistically on doing 2 major gift knits, like garment gift knits, everything else maybe accessories for people for Christmas. So I don't know, maybe I'll be able to squeeze it, but we'll see. One of them was going to be sweatpants. I don't know how long that'll take me. So that's my dream one, and it has to specifically be in the Shire because I think that colorway is absolutely gorgeous. It's the perfect green. I love it. Okay, I was rudely cut off by my camera. I kind of have the camera a bit further away from me. I just have it zoomed, so I'm kind of happy about that because when I can see the time, I totally noticed it in editing that I am completely rushing through my words, and I feel like I need to hurry up and beat the clock, and I need to be done in like 30 minutes. But I'm a chatter. I really am. Anyway, it has to be in the Shire colorway, for me at least anyway, because I think that is the perfect green. That is the green that I have been looking for my entire life. Literally, like, I want to knit all of my fall and winter things in that color because I just think it's so gorgeous. I think my husband had seen a few of different colors that he liked. He does like, and we do match sometimes, so he was thinking about us matching, but I had said, nope, I want my own specific color and you can choose a different color because I don't know. So he had picked a few others that I made a list of, and we'll see if I have time. I'd rather get one out of the way first and then see how it goes and then see if I can make the second. So if I had to make one, this year, or if I can make one this year, I would probably make his first and then see if I have the motivation to make mine next. I really like, since I started knitting, I really liked the honeycomb motif, but I was really nervous about cables in general. And then once I finally did cables with the Williamsburg sweater by Kara's Knits, I was like, oh, this is actually not too bad. But it just seems like a ton of work still, so I'm just a little nervous about that. But yeah, so that is my dream project for this year. But again, we'll see if I get it done. And then the next question is favorite garment you've knitted so far. This one's a little hard because there are a few that I really like. The one that I have worn the most since knitting it is my Diagon Alley jumper by Fable Knitwear, but that's because it was my first ever garment. I wear it with all of its mistakes because I think it's charming and has a little bit of character. My camera cut me off again, but because the card was full this time, so oh my goodness. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. So the sweater that I've worn the most is the Diagon Alley jumper, but I think mainly because it is my first one, and also I've done a lot of gift knitting when I started knitting, so I don't really have as many pieces as I'd like to wear. I think it was the Poofy Poof beanie by Jessie May. It's like a really thick beanie, and I feel like that's the only beanie that looks nice on me because of my hair, because it's poofy. So when I wear like smaller ones or ones that are like DK weight, definitely never gonna wear anything fingering weight on my head, like hat wise. But I like that one a lot, and in the winter time, if I just don't feel like doing my hair, I usually pop that on. Literally my favorite. I want to make another one this year because it looks good on my head, I guess. I think just because of the super bulky yarn, it looks really nice. The yarn used for it can be really accessible. You can use Lion Brand, Woolies Thick and Quick, or literally just any super bulky yarn that you have in hand. So I think that was the end of our questions. Well, I don't know if that really answered the question. I don't really have a favorite, but if I were to pick a favorite, those two probably would be it because I do wear them quite often. I like the Diagon Alley jumper a lot, and I do like the Poofy Poof beanie. I know Jessie May came out with a lighter version, I think literally fingering weight. And it's nice, but like I said, I've tried wearing I have one of Petite Knits. It's just ribbed all around. It's not the Oslo one. It's not Stockholm either. I don't think, no. I forgot what it's called, but I have that one. And I also think it might be my gauge because I have just started to realize that I think a lot of my ill-fitting things from the past are just because I didn't gauge swatch. And I didn't really know my tension that well, so I think if I made myself a bit of a bigger one, or one with the right gauge, I'll get to see if it fits well or not. But yeah, the ones that I have made in the past before, if I put it on my head, it just looks really funky. Like I look like a skater boy who said "see you later, boy," and who definitely does not know how to wear hats properly or just doesn't care. But I do care, so I do like the Poofy Poof one. So I guess those two would be my favorite patterns. Although I do like the Owlery pattern by the Owlery blouse by Fable Knitwear too. I did make it. However, I think I might have to try to remake it again because she said to switch between the mohair or the lace for the sleeves and for the body portion of the fingering weight to use an intarsia style. I have never done intarsia before, so I think some of the bits in between from the sleeve and the body can use some reworking. That, or I think I had just like sewn them together, like sewn it shut. But I do love the way that looks a lot. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Would make another one. I probably have enough fingering to make another one, but we'll see. So yeah, that one, I guess those two definitely. Diagon Alley, I want to make myself another one. I am in the search of a perfect burgundy yarn. I feel like I have not found that yet. I feel like I haven't seen it yet. In the search of the perfect burgundy for me to make a Diagon Alley jumper in that. Yes, I do like that one, and I do like the poofy poof one. So let's see what other questions we have. Okay, so the other question comes from Honeysuckle Knits. Favorite yarn slash weight, no, sorry. Favorite yarn weight slash needle size to work with. So I think most of the yarns that I started with was DK weight. So I think I generally like that weight of yarn. It feels really easy and really natural, and then the 4 mil needles are usually, like I said, it feels like natural. I think from, let's say, 3.5 to about 4.5, I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot for me. If we start going into bigger sizes, like 10 mil and such, those do hurt my hands after a while. Like I need to take more breaks faster. So I think just for my ergonomic side, I do like between 3.5 to 4.5. Just my personal sweet spot. So that's all the questions that I had gotten. To be fair, I didn't ask my Instagram again. I kind of just wanted to go through these. Also, I didn't realize I'd be talking so much at the beginning of this. But there it is. So I am working on a potential future design by me. Not potential, I'm making it. But whether or not it'll be written to a pattern is what will be determined in the future. I am making a baby doll dress. That is well, I've said it, I posted on my Instagram this morning and I said it was a baby doll, but this is about how much I have right now. So this is very much inspired. Okay, I feel like I need to go on a backstory. Let me drink a little bit of my tea first. Also, what are you drinking? Are you drinking water? Because it's really hot out, so maybe you should be, maybe I should be too, instead of tea, but here we are. Okay, so initially I actually have it drawn out too still on my iPad. From April, a baby doll dress for like a wintry kind of thing, kind of like a holiday dress, etc., etc. Something that you can wear on its own, or my idea is to wear a what do they call it? A petticoat underneath, just to give it the extra floof. Just because, yeah, because then I had started thinking about like making dresses with multiple layers, if that makes sense, or doing like a very plain yarn, like a neutral yarn color, and then like a really, really funky mohair on top. And then I was like, no, maybe not that, maybe something else, but I don't know, like I got the yarn for it. I haven't swatched yet. I think mostly because I'd gotten some drops yarn, and I think because of the way that it looks on the computer screen versus what it came like in real life, it just really didn't motivate me. I still have the yarn and I still want to make this version of like a holiday, like autumn winter dress. But give me a second. But I had made the Made You Look top in the shiny happy cotton in eucalyptus green by Wool and the Gang. I had gotten the yarn as a Christmas gift last year, and I was finally able to work with it, sorry. However, I only really used one full skein and then maybe a bit of the second one. I had gotten 3 skeins. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this one? Maybe I'll just swatch and see if I want to do like a spring summer version, since that seems to be the rage these days, is kind of like dominating all sides of the market to make sure that, I don't know, nobody takes your design or idea for your design. But I just started making it, and I really like the color too. I do have a dress that's like a sage green color, and for spring I really like sage green. So I just thought too, with cotton you can wear any time of the year. It's not really limited to just specific seasons. So I'm going to, so I just decided to go ahead and order more of the shiny happy cotton to see if I can make this come into fruition anyway, like this design I have in my head. But yeah, very much baby doll inspired. I like the way, I kind of like the way realistically inspired by Selkie dresses. And the first half of this is meant to be like the bandeau portion of the dress. So here basically, and then under breast, and then just straight like coming out from the dress or the skirt portion. So just that. I had thought about just making it a, it looks like I'm wearing like a little like tiny shoulder covering. I thought about just making it a, what am I saying, strapless. But then I started thinking more about other strap options and strap ideas. So I think I will do that. And then I have just a basic like purled edge, like a fold over hem. But then I started looking at it more, and I wanted something more decorative. I didn't want it to be just kind of plain. I was thinking, I think I've seen like Latvian braid edging. I think that's really gorgeous, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I think another option I was going to do is that after I kind of see how I like this, take a few pictures, maybe I'll probably unravel the cast off and then maybe do a picot edge. For some reason I thought it was really difficult, and I looked up a tutorial online and it wasn't hard at all. So I think that could be possible, just to have like multiple options of like, if, you know, depending on your skill level or how confident you feel, or if maybe you just want it to look a little casual, you don't want it to look super, I don't know, done up, I guess. And it can just be the folded over hem with the pearl edge. But yeah, this is just, it's super, super simple. It's basically just all stuff knit. There's really no, I am thinking about adding a bit of an I-cord as like a separation between the bandeau portion and the skirt portion. But I'm just not, I'm not sure yet. We're kind of just going with it as, going with the flow, like as I am continuing. So that's why I wanted to work on this one too, because it's mostly stockinette and I'm on the skirt portion. I thought about also doing tiers of the dress, but again, I'm not sure. I don't even know if I have enough yarn for that. So we'll see how far I get with the rest of this skein. I think this is my 3rd skein, because I had one full one for this, and then part of that other one, and then this is the 3rd one. So it was majority of the first skein, took up most of the bandeau, and then some of the rest of it was for the finishing, and then the second one was the skirt, and then I added this 3rd one. So I believe I had gotten 7 more. So I thought about also doing big poofy sleeves, but I think for the cotton one I probably wouldn't do that, just because I'm not sure if I'll be able to achieve the effect that I want with a worsted weight cotton, because it is kind of heavy. So I don't want you to have droopy sleeves, but I do want options for straps. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So maybe I will have more yarn available to make it longer, maybe like T-length, like mid-calf. I think that's the sweet spot for me when it comes to dresses. I do like them a little bit above the knee too, but I think I like the mid-calf length a lot better, just a bit more comfortable for me. I was a little nervous about talking about this, to be honest. I really like listening to Bethany's podcast. I think we all do. I like listening to her knit chats. Because she kind of just says it like it is, and she doesn't really care. Like, I mean, she says it like as nicely as possible, which is really nice too. But she had talked about her intentions of coming out with 2 designs this year, and feeling like with Instagram the pressure of kind of having to churn out designs. So even when I started, I was really nervous, and I posted on my Instagram if designers are ever nervous about posting like updates on a future design in case people copy, but then also like having that same anxiety of like you wanting to put it out so that way nobody then accuses you of copying them and their design in the future. And it was just definitely very stressful, like thinking about that, like, oh my gosh, because we've seen it before, right? Yeah. And I was definitely like, do I really even want to do this? Because I'm just so nervous about, like, I just want to design. Like when I was little, I wanted to design, so now I'm feeling like kind of the confidence to go ahead and do that now. Even if it's starting off with something really simple, or even doing something really simple, I just want to put it out there. And I don't want to get in those pickles. Probably will happen anyway, but yeah, I was just really nervous about that. So that's why I didn't really want to do anything. I was like, maybe I'll just put it out there and then never come out with the pattern, because I'm just too scared of something like that happening. But a few people reached out and said, they feel the same way, but ultimately up to me. And, you can always handle situations like on every situation basis, I suppose. And I've seen how other designers also handled it, so I kind of might take a cue from them, how to deal with that, I guess. I think just grading will probably be the hardest part for me. I think it usually is for people. Even though it's stockinette, some of you might be like, that's so easy. It's like literally just however many's in an inch. But yeah, I definitely struggled a lot with math in school. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and try my best and see the numbers I come up with, and then maybe also look up some pattern graders. And you have to still, pay them for their time, which I'm more than willing to do to make sure everything is right and everyone gets to make it. But I guess we'll see how it looks first. And I also want to make another sample in a bit of a more fall color option. And also, I guess that's where I'm getting to too, because I was going to do like double strand of DK if it hits gauge in an acrylic yarn. So I kind of want to talk about that too, aside from like my design. But here it is. I might post here and there, but I signed up for 2 test knits that I absolutely could not resist. And they have deadlines. So I'm going to probably work on this whenever I can. One deadline's in September, and that's for Rebecca's cargo sweater, and it's so gorgeous. I'm just waiting for the yarn to come in. I have the fingering weight yarn already. I was going to make another Awin blouse in this like tea rose color or dusty rose from Knitting for Olive. But when the cargo sweater came out, I kind of just looked at that color and I was like, yeah, that's going to be the sweater. But I needed to order one more skein, and then I need to order the mohair, which I did from Wool Warehouse recently. So it's supposed to come in this week, so I'm very excited for that. It's very textured, so that's why I feel like I need to spend more time on that. And then I'm also testing the Daphne dress by Friday Knits. I'm so excited for that one. The deadline is really close to my birthday, so I'm like over the moon. I also ordered the yarn for that one recently. I have the mohair for that one, but I didn't have the Aran like worsted weight yarn, so I ordered some for that. I'm very excited for my birthday dress. It's gonna be so cute. But anyway, yeah, so there's that. But I was thinking about kind of like the discussion around like natural versus synthetic fibers. And I guess like even when I talk to my husband, sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, like I try to justify myself to him a lot. And I feel like I do that here sometimes, or I have done that here. And I'm just kind of realizing that maybe the specific rhetoric around acrylic can be harmful, or can be not harmful, but I know there's like yarn snobs is like a thing, and I'm totally fine with that because I feel like when I've talked, I've definitely had that same like vibe. And also there, let's be honest, there is definitely a difference in feeling between synthetic and natural fibers. But you know, for some people that are allergic to maybe natural like animal fibers, or you know, there's definitely a lot of younger people in the community that are coming up, from crocheters to knitters. And if you don't make your own like paychecks, basically, I wouldn't want you to feel left out because people don't like acrylic and you're using acrylic for your projects. Because when I started knitting, I got a crap ton of acrylic. I'm pretty sure a lot of us did. I don't live in a country where like drops isn't like super like, I mean, it is accessible now, but also I have my own money that I can spend myself, and I can decide whether or not I want to spend $15 on shipping. But not everybody has, and maybe, you know, parents are buying it or whatnot, and just wouldn't want you to feel left out because maybe what's accessible to you is acrylic, or what you can wear, what doesn't irritate your skin is not what everybody wants to be using or what people say feels nicer. And I had seen too, Lion Brand came out with a collab with Two of Wands called Color Theory. And as soon as that came out, I was like, yes, I need all of them. I hope there's a bit of wool content in there because I don't want it to just be 100% acrylic. And then I had seen a few people say like, oh, you're definitely changing the game, or like the conversation around acrylic because it's so soft and all of this stuff, right? And then I was thinking about it again. I'm like, oh, you know, like, because then when I had seen the 100% acrylic, I was like, oh, okay, maybe not, never mind, you know? Like, maybe if there was a bit of a wool blend, that'd be better, like her other collab with them, the Hue and Me yarns. And then I was kind of like, why did I just think that? Like, I really like the colors, and I think they're gorgeous, and I want to make something with it. So I know, and I kind of had to like really, I was really deep in reflection and like deeply deconstructing my thoughts behind it. And I think too, it was probably because they've seen other videos where people were like, oh, you know, I made this when it was acrylic, and kind of making it sound like people are like almost ashamed that they have that. But when I first started knitting, and with my Diagon Alley jumper, that was the first time I ever bought wool. The rest of the yarn I got was all acrylic, mainly because I didn't know if other people were allergic, or if they got itchy, or if they didn't like natural fibers. And I just thought acrylic would be easier. And then also it was more affordable. So, and I didn't know, before I also used to have like a lot of tendencies of picking up things and then dropping it. So I didn't want to spend a ton of money on something that I didn't think or know that I would actually end up enjoying and loving. So I still have a bunch in my closet ever since, though, knitting with natural fibers. I find the experience more pleasant, and I definitely do think now I am I live for the experience of knitting too. Because even with I've decided to start making some baby knits in acrylic, just to make it easier on the moms to wash. I also did some plant fibers too. But I just thought that'd be easier. But even then, like working with it, I find myself taking breaks more often because of how it feels. And most of them are, well, actually, yeah, most of my acrylic is Paintbox DK. Again, it was like, it's $3 just getting for like 300 and something yards of yarn. Like, it's a good deal, you know? One of those, like literally, I think it, for the Diagonally jumper, was one full skein took up most majority of an arm and then half of the other one. I would only use 3 skeins for a whole jumper, so I was like, this is amazing. So now, however, now that I'm, you know, have gotten experience with other fibers, I know what I like now a little bit more, but I also know that I don't think I will shy away from it for whatever reason, you know. And I'm going to try not to justify if I make something in the future and if I'm like, oh, it's made from 100% acrylic. I don't want to come off as I'm ashamed of using it, because I wouldn't want you guys to feel ashamed of using it if you do use acrylic. Because realistically, we're all in this hobby together, and I am not going to be worried about you using acrylic yarn when there are billionaires taking a 3-minute flight just to avoid some traffic because they can. I think their harm on climate is a little bit bigger than your individual use of yarn. So I'm not going to jump down your throat for using acrylic if you use acrylic, because it's a hobby, and this is so much, like, I just want to make sure that we're all having fun, and I wouldn't want anyone to come to my channel and feel like if we ever met in person, I would judge you because you're using acrylic, because I still use acrylic and I still have a ton in my stash. I actually thought about kind of like holding a few triple or double to get a specific gauge for some things, because the reason why I don't like acrylic specifically close to skin is because I have really sensitive skin, and with acrylic, if I start sweating, I get rashes. So definitely not fun. Or like 100% polyester, 100% acrylic. But if I had it as like a cardigan, it's okay. But if I had it like as like just a jumper, because you know, and honestly in SoCal, even in the fall time, it doesn't get like hot enough to wear a sweater and a jacket, or to wear so many layers unless you're going to the snow, and even then, or like the mountains, and even then it's not that cold. So sometimes in the fall I just wear a sweater, like just a pullover with an undershirt. That's it, but not a long sleeve undershirt. So if I were to wear a pullover that's acrylic, I have to make sure it's that I have something like a longer sleeve under it, so that way I'm not getting irritated on my skin. That's realistically the only reason why I wouldn't put it directly on skin. But other stuff where it's not and it won't interact with sweat too much, I'm okay with that for myself. But yeah, and then I forgot, oh my gosh, there's this girl on Instagram who makes these really cute videos. She has red hair. Let me see if I can find her off the top of my head. But she makes this video about like how acrylic yarn is still yarn, and you can't, but like we shouldn't be like judging people and saying that it's not like real yarn or something. Let me see. I feel like I do remember. Wonder Co-Creations video. Yeah. Moralizing or being judgmental towards people's yarn choices. I really like her videos. If you guys don't follow her already, which you might find that hard to believe because she has 31,000 followers on Instagram. But I really like kind of the conversation she has, and like her little reels I think are really good because then it sparks conversations like this. All that to say, I thought about making a second sample with some of my acrylic yarn, because I do have a ton of like a forest green color, I'm either thinking about holding it double. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to stop recording soon because this is like the 4th time my camera stops recording on me. Anyway, so very quickly I thought about making another sample in acrylic held double with, yeah, because I have some browns, like a light brown, and I have a lot of a dark forest green. So that way if I want to, that way we can also have like a sample of the acrylic too. And then also because dresses aren't necessarily, well, I mean this one would kind of be next to sin, but I want to make one for the fall so that I can wear long sleeves under it or sweaters underneath it. So I think that should be okay, just because the skirt portion won't be too much of an issue. But I want to do that, and hopefully I can get this out sometime this year. My first time though. I'm very proud of myself for just jumping into it. Also, I have seen your guys' comments and I will respond. I was gone for a whole week and then I got a ton more comments when I was gone, and my YouTube Studio app was being really weird. I didn't get a chance to respond to you, but I will try to. Just know that I've seen all your comments and I'm very grateful for all of you guys leaving comments. They're very, very nice. But yeah, I think that's about all I had. I had anticipated on this video being like 30 minutes, but like I said in the beginning, I chat a lot, and I also kind of wanted to just catch up, and I had a bit on my mind with the acrylic too. I'm going to try my best not to try to justify myself in the future when I'm using yarn, or acrylic yarn, but I am planning on phasing it out. I'm trying to use what I can in my stash. I wanted to sell it, but I feel like not that many people would buy it. And it's also like dirt cheap, so I feel like either donate it or just use it as best as I can. And I think in a baby doll dress would be actually like a really good way to use it, and then doubling up some yarn, like holding it double, sorry. Yeah, so I know there's other options now that we're all learning, which I'm very grateful for the internet, because that way we can all share, like, hey, Drops is, you know, they have animal fibers and plant fibers and sell them at these places, and Wool Warehouse usually has a good sale. Like I bought my kid silk mohair for, I think it's 80p less, so it was £3.80, but it was on sale for just £3. So, you know, like $4 USD, $4 or $5, something like that. I think it was $4.60 if I remember correctly. So not too expensive for a sweater quantity of mohair. But yeah, I just want to make sure everybody feels comfortable coming to this channel and nobody feels judged, nobody feels like they're not included or like they kind of have to hide their yarn choices. Hi, Brianne here. I was just doing the outro of my video, but my camera battery died. And it's starting to get a little gloomier and darker out here, so I don't want to wait for and I don't have another camera battery to be able to just pop that one in and then continue. So I'm just gonna end this here. I want everybody to feel comfortable and safe at this channel, and want to make sure that no one feels left out or judged. So I'm just going to put that out there, but if you do notice that I don't use, or I am starting to phase out acrylic, if in the future I'm not using it as often, that's probably why, but I do like a good blend. So Wool-Ease is definitely, you will see that in my videos for sure. And I just want to like kind of change my mindset, because you know, starting a new craft, you kind of go hard and fast. You learn the do's and don'ts, you learn what people like right away, you learn everyone's opinions right away. I just don't want anyone to ever feel bad about that. And I would really hate to feel like I contributed to like a negative stereotype of something, just because that's not the kind of person I want to be. So yeah, I just don't want anyone to feel like I don't know. This is definitely parasocial, but I just wouldn't want anyone watching my videos to feel like that. So yeah, have a good day, have a good week, have a good night whenever you're watching this. I am going to go ahead and try to get this up as soon as possible, and then I will see you in the podcast episode. We'll probably have a ton of whips and not that many finished objects, if I'm being honest, but you know what, that's okay. We'll have tons to talk about, have a lot of acquisitions to talk about. So I will see you next time. Woo, don't you love my hand skills with this? Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.